Welcome back to Red Recapped. Today's movie is Evil, released in 2003. There will be some spoilers in the following, so, let's begin the film without further ado. In the first scenes, Erik, a young man, is fighting with his friend. It is unclear why Erik is beating his friend so aggressively. The rest of his friends remain there, watching. No one tries to break up the fight because they are afraid of Erik, who is notorious for getting into fights. Erik is then summoned by the principal, who is fed up with his misbehavior. He was immediately expelled from school. Erik must still receive a caning from his stepfather when he returns home for the violent incident that resulted in his expulsion from school. Erik's biological mother, who is aware of the situation, believes Erik will learn from his mistakes. Following that, his mother requests that he meet with Gunnar, her legal friend. Erik is given the lawyer's business card and instructed to contact him at any time if he is in any form of trouble. Erik, bewildered, merely examines the business card. After Gunnar has departed, his mother expresses her dissatisfaction with his expulsion from school. Erik's mother then informs him that he has been assigned to a different school. She sends him to Stjarnsberg, an all-boys boarding school, hoping that he doesn't waste this opportunity and maintains his position that he will not be expelled again, because this is his final chance. Erik assures her that he will perform well in school and graduate. Eventually, Erik starts a new chapter of his life at this school. He's wearing a uniform this time, and his hair is cut short. His roommate is Pierre, the smartest student in school. They converse, and it turns out that they hit it off immediately because Pierre is a pleasant individual. As night sets in, Erik and Pierre rush to the hall for dinner. Erik then meets a student named Johan, who explains to him that each school has its own unique traditions and that each student is treated differently at this school depending on their social standing. The student with curly hair, who is next to Erik, is then abruptly summoned by Otto and Gustav, two additional students sitting at the far end of the table. The student with curly hair is from a low-income family, whereas Otto and Gustav are the children of affluent nobles. Otto and Gustav routinely tease other students from lower-class backgrounds. They are willing to act arbitrarily because their family exerts significant authority at this institution, and they are not afraid of being expelled. Furthermore, they're both members of the intra-school student group that has influence over students. Erik is invited to smoke after dinner by Pierre. He initially declines, citing his pledge to his mother not to break the rules. If they are caught smoking, Johan warns that they will receive severe punishment. However, Pierre ensures that they will not be discovered, and Erik is eventually persuaded. Otto and Gustav invite Erik to brunch the following day. They plan to provide a welcome greeting because Erik is a transfer student who has to be acquainted with the school's traditions. But he declines immediately, leaving Johan to bear the consequences of his refusal. Otto injures Johan's head until he is sent to the hospital for treatment. Otto and Gustav are planning to dupe Erik again later in the evening. They summon Erik to their headquarters and order him to clean up the stack of filthy shoes on the floor. Erik refuses and immediately departs. Gustav becomes upset and approaches Otto, asking what they should do with Erik. Otto doesn't seem concerned about it just yet. He's still at ease, and he tells Gustav to leave Erik alone because he's a new student. Erik then tells Pierre everything. His roommate's expression becomes more tense. Pierre then advises Erik not to violate Otto and Gustav's orders in the future because students who do will face consequences. Erik, a former bully, claims to be unafraid of them. He also expressly admits that he would never obey their orders at all. In the evening, Erik and Pierre explore non-violent options for dealing with Otto and Gustav's bullying at school. However, it appears difficult to achieve because the students would rather obey Otto and Gustav's requests than risk suffering bruises all over their bodies. Gustav bumps into Erik the next day as he walks along the school corridor. Gustav then instructs Erik to apologize. Erik, on the other hand, rejects him since he believes he did not strike him. Gustav becomes infuriated and challenges Erik to a fight at a pre-arranged nighttime spot. Pierre and Johan then invite Erik to the Gustav-mentioned fighting ring. According to Pierre, Otto and Gustav never fight fairly. They would get together and attack Erik. However, Erik intends to take Gustav up on his offer and fight him that night. But, in the end, he gives up and recalls his mother's instruction to always behave well in order to graduate successfully. After returning to the room, Pierre encourages his friend to smoke to relieve his fatigue. Otto and Gustav have been waiting in the battle ring for Erik for quite some time. Otto, on the other hand, feels Erik is too cowardly and calls him a rat. The next day, Otto calls out the names of kids who are frequently fined and ignore intra-school student group directives, and Erik is one of them. Otto, the student council president, convicts Erik to a month in prison and forces him to dig a 1-meter deep hole around the school grounds once he appears in court. Erik works till late in the evening digging trenches, therefore, he must eat alone in the hall because his work is done after dinner. Erik is eating alone when Maria, a canteen employee, approaches him. Maria seems taken with him. She adds that he reminds her of her brother. Later, Erik smokes for a few minutes after eating. Maria abruptly appears while he is smoking alone. She informs him that smoking is harmful to his health, and she recalls the fragrance of his breath. Maria then kisses Erik and tightly embraces him. Erik and Maria are both aware that the institution strictly forbids students from having romantic relationships with school personnel, because the punishment is harsh. He will be expelled, and the employee will be fired right away. Erik and Maria, on the other hand, don't appear to mind the rules that night. Erik goes home for the holiday season. His mother welcomes him, but his stepfather seems upset. His stepfather is baffled as to why he has earned so many sanctions, including suspension. On the other hand, Erik reacts honestly. He had violated the orders of a student who later revealed himself to be the son of a noble and significant figure in the school. At this point, his stepfather agrees with him, saying that a noble's kid should be humble and obedient anyway. Later, Erik is caned again by his stepfather since his report cards are low and he receives a lot of punishment at school. His mother, who is aware of her son's misery, simply ignores it. Erik returns to school after the holidays. He hurries to meet Maria since he has missed her terribly. Erik and Maria then let go of their longing by kissing in the moonlight. Otto and Gustav devise a new plan to tease Erik now that he has returned to school. This time, they intend to splatter mud on Erik while he sleeps. Erik and Pierre quickly wake up and mop up the dirt that Otto had dumped in their room. Erik, on the other hand, plans to avenge Otto and Gustav. He takes the dirt leftovers and enters Otto's chamber, splattering the dirt while Otto sleeps soundly. Erik purposely chirped loudly in the dining hall the next day so that all of the students could hear him. He asks if they can smell the disgusting feces and then sniffs around until he comes to a halt in front of Otto. Erik then informs everyone that Otto is to blame for the odor of dirt. Otto gets outraged when he hears this because Erik dared to mock him. He repeatedly punches Erik in the face until he is battered, but Erik does not reply since he has promised his mother not to. Otto is quickly stopped by Maria. The bullies then target Erik's roommate and only friend at this school, Pierre. Otto calls Pierre when they are in the dining hall. Pierre, on the other hand, ignores him since he believes he did nothing wrong to Otto. Nevertheless, Otto challenges Pierre to a fight and threatens to punish him if he does not show up. Otto and Gustav deliberately target Pierre in order to annoy Erik. Erik would not stand by and watch as Otto and his followers ganged up on Pierre. After that, they'd gang up on Erik, and there'd be no more students who disobeyed Otto and Gustav. That evening, Pierre is obligated to accept Otto's challenge. Although Otto and Gustav are surrounded by fans, the youngster comes alone on the battlefield. Pierre confronts Otto, but the bully knocks him to the ground with only a few light strokes. Erik arrives after Pierre has totally collapsed, and he is powerless to help since it is too late. Erik then takes Pierre to his room and starts treating his wound. He then leaves the room, allowing Pierre to unwind. He meets Maria, and they make love till the sun comes up. Erik returns to his room in the morning, anxious about Pierre's health. Erik is astonished to discover that his room is empty and that Pierre has already left. Pierre even brought his belongings with him, indicating that he is not going back to school. Pierre only left a letter in which he apologizes for his unexpected departure. Pierre recalls Erik as a good friend who advises him not to give up and to continue resisting Otto's and his henchmen's arbitrariness. Erik is resolved to avenge the torture of his classmates and other kids at the hands of Otto and his thugs. He approaches Gustav in the dining hall and challenges him to a battle in the arena in an hour. Erik, who is alone, confronts Gustav and von Schenken, who are both larger and stronger than him. In contrast, the two young delinquents simply shouted loudly. However, since Erik is a former delinquent, he easily takes them down. Erik then threatens Otto, who is shocked after his most powerful minions are defeated. Erik assures Otto that he will be the next target. However, before dealing with Otto, Erik dashes to the school kitchen to look for Maria. A female employee informs Erik that Maria has left school because she has been fired. She then presents him with a letter from Maria. Erik, like Pierre, is shocked by Maria's sudden departure. One of Otto's henchmen catches Erik getting a letter from a female employee at the school. He immediately notifies Otto. He then attacks Erik's chamber and orders his minions to look through Erik's belongings. Then they come across a letter from Maria. When Otto reads it, he realizes Erik and Maria are having an affair. Otto clearly intends to expel Erik from school using the letter. He swiftly provides evidence of the severe breach to the principal. Erik is summoned by the principal and immediately expelled from school since, like Maria, he committed a serious offense. Erik accepts his punishment with grace. He asks the principal to return Maria's letter because it is his only memory of her. The principal declines before filing it away. Erik then intends to get revenge on Otto for all of his tribulations. He goes in search of Otto, who is lost in the woods. He immediately confronts Otto and threatens him with a stick. Erik makes Otto kneel. Otto suddenly obeys his orders. Otto, who appears afraid, then promises Erik $10,000 in exchange for his commitment not to kill him. Erik, on the other hand, refuses. Otto tears excessively as Erik prepares to attack him, begs Erik to save his life, and then vomits. Erik then says he would not kill him since he is not like Otto, who delights in oppressing the defenseless. Erik then returns to school to finish packing his possessions. Then he recalls Gunnar, who told Erik that he could contact him if there was a problem at school. Erik hastily dials Gunnar's number, and the lawyer arrives shortly thereafter. After telling Gunnar about his dilemma, Erik walks to the principal, who is drinking with the teaching staff in his chamber. Erik pleads not to be expelled from school and that the letter from Maria be returned to him. The principal first refuses, but Gunnar enters the room, threatens to publicize the caste and bullying mentality among the students, and is purposely left by the principal and other school personnel. At this point, the principal is compelled to approve all of Erik's proposals and dissolve the student council, which Otto chairs. To make a long tale short, Erik is grateful to Gunnar for allowing him to return to school and challenge Otto and his henchmen's dictatorial rule. Erik spends his days at school peacefully until the day of his graduation. His mother is ecstatic with all of her son's achievements throughout his adventure. Nonetheless, Erik's stepfather is still upset since Erik earns low grades on school attitude assessments. Erik fights back as his stepfather prepares to flog him, declaring that this is the last time violence will occur in this house. Erik then kicks him out of the house. In the last scenes, Erik soon meets Pierre, who is on his way to Geneva to complete his education. They then agree to meet again someday. That's all from the video. Thanks for watching.